Finally, after years of waiting, the much-anticipated live-action Moana has premiered. The legendary adventure that captured millions returns with an incredible live-action adaptation where a young woman chosen by the ocean must find the powerful demigod Maui, face a terrifying monster capable of destroying the world, and return the heart of a goddess before darkness takes over all the islands. It all starts with Grandma Tala telling the ancient legend of Te Fiti. Back then, everything lived in perfect harmony as Te Fiti's heart was the source of all life and held immense power. Many coveted it as it gave the power to create and bring prosperity to whatever it touched. Until one day, a demigod decided to steal Te Fiti's heart. That being could transform himself thanks to the power of his legendary magic hook, and his name was Maui. Without her heart, Te Fiti was left devastated, and darkness began to spread across the world. Maui tried to escape with the heart, but during his flight he was intercepted by another powerful enemy who wanted it too, Teka, a fearsome demon of fire, rock and lava. The two clashed in a fierce battle until Maui was stricken down and hurled into the ocean. During the fall, he lost both Te Fiti's heart and his magic hook, disappearing without a trace. Now, 1,000 years later, Teka and the monsters from the abyss continue to search for the heart. In their wake, they consume the life from one island after another, spreading a darkness that threatens to engulf everything. However, the legend says that one day, someone will recover the heart, journey beyond the reef, find Maui, and return Te Fiti's heart to save the world. The grandma tells this story to the village kids, including her granddaughter Moana. But right then, Moana's dad shows up to tell them there aren't any monsters or darkness, and no one's allowed to cross the reef. His words calm the little ones, but he also makes it clear there's one rule you should never break: don't cross the reef. He also says that as long as they stay on the island, everyone will be safe. A little later, Moana goes to the beach and helps a small turtle get away from some seabirds so it can reach the ocean. Then something amazing happens. The sea starts to open up in front of her like it's alive. The spirit of the ocean plays with her and finally leaves a shiny green stone at her feet, the heart of Te Fiti. Moana picks it up, curious, but just then her dad surprises her, making her drop the heart before she can understand what's just happened. Later, her mom and Chief Tui tell her that one day she'll be the next leader of the tribe, so she should never cross the reef. They also teach her about their traditions, the importance of caring for the trees and their ancestors' legacy. We even meet the clumsy but lovable rooster, Hai Hai, who's already proving to be a constant troublemaker. Since then, Moana grows up watching the vast ocean from afar. Even though she feels this unexplainable connection to the sea, she respects her dad's orders. The only person who lets her go freely to the beach is her grandma, who understands that it seems the ocean has chosen her granddaughter for a destiny much greater than anyone can imagine. Little by little, her grandma tells her she needs to learn to listen to the voice inside her and have the courage to follow it. Over the years, Moana is no longer a little girl and becomes a brave teenager. Her father takes her to a sacred spot just for the tribe's chiefs. Very soon she'll come of age, and as part of tradition, she'll place a rock on the mountain just like her father, grandfather, and all the leaders before her did. He reminds her that she symbolizes the village's future and that her true place isn't out across the ocean, but right with her people. That's why she has to learn to become the leader everyone needs. She eagerly looks forward to the day she'll become the chief of Motunui. Moana lives with her cute little pig Pua and her awkward but inseparable rooster, Hei Hei. She spends her days helping the islanders, solving community problems, and getting ready to take on leadership. Meanwhile, she practices over and over again for the moment she'll place her rock in the sacred spot. But then, some troubling news completely changes the vibe in the village. There aren't any fish left in the lagoon, the palm trees are starting to dry up and rot, and the crops are no longer thriving. Chief Tui gathers everyone to explain what's going on. He reminds them that a while back, a hurricane allowed them to store fish and food, but this time there's no storm to blame for the scarcity. So Moana suggests a solution. If the lagoon's out of fish, they should sail farther out and fish beyond the reef. But her father immediately shoots down the idea. There's one rule that must never be broken. No one is allowed to cross the reef. Moana insists she's just trying to save her people from starving, but Chief Tui gets angry and forbids her from even bringing it up again. Later, her mom comes over to explain why her father is acting that way. He tells her that when he was young, he also felt the urge to explore the ocean ocean and decided to defy the ban. He sailed beyond the reef with his best friend, but a violent storm caught them off guard. His companion died at sea, and Chief Tui could never forgive himself for not being able to save him. Since then, all he wants is to protect his daughter from the same fate. Even so, Moana keeps exploring the island while noticing how everyone plays an important role in the community. At the same time, she keeps practicing for when she'll place her rock on the mountain. However, when she finally tries to do it, she realizes she can't. Something inside her tells her that's not her true path. She can't stop wondering what's beyond the reef. Driven by that curiosity, she decides to defy the ban. Along with Pua, she gets into a canoe and starts paddling out to sea with the intention of crossing the reef for the first time. Just when she's about to make it, the unexpected happens. Huge waves appear out of nowhere and violently rock the boat. Moana and Pua fall into the water as another massive wave ends up capsizing the canoe. Amidst the chaos, Moana gets tangled in the ropes underwater and after a desperate struggle to free herself, barely makes it to the surface. With no other choice, she returns to the island defeated with Pua. Seeing her grandma tries to lighten the mood with a joke and tells her to just blame the pig if anyone asks what happened. Moana, completely discouraged, asks her not to tell her dad anything. Convinced he was always right, she insists she doesn't belong to the ocean and that her destiny is just to place her rock on the mountain. Her grandma confesses that when her time comes, she hopes to return as a manta ray to keep watching over her family. Laughing, she calls herself the village's eccentric lady, but insists she has something very important to show first. She then takes Moana up into the mountains, explaining that she knows all the tales about their village, except one. Afterwards, she asks Moana a question that completely changes her perspective. Do you really think that none of your ancestors dared to journey beyond the reef? The grandmother tells her to go into the hidden cave, beat an ancient drum, and find out for herself. Moana follows her direction, and as she enters, she finds dozens of enormous canoes hidden inside. In front of them is the mysterious drum. When she strikes it, numerous torches light up simultaneously, illuminating the cave and uncovering her people's true history. Before her eyes, images of her ancestors sailing the vast ocean appear. They weren't just simple island dwellers, but great explorers who traveled the sea guided by the stars. But when Maui stole Te Fiti's heart, Teka woke up and darkness started spreading across the world. Many boats vanished into the ocean, and to protect future generations, the ancient chiefs banned sailing beyond the reef. As the centuries passed, her people forgot who they really were, and now the darkness has finally returned to find them. Her grandmother reveals that day when she was just a child, she saw her by the sea and understood what had happened. The ocean chose her for a mission: to cross the reef, find Maui, retrieve Te Fiti's heart, and put it back to save her people. Moana thought that memory was just a dream, but the ocean itself answers her again and shows her it was all real. She was always the chosen one. Without wasting a second, Moana runs to find her father. But when she arrives, she finds the situation has gotten worse. The crops keep dying and the island's resources are running out. Moana insists the only solution is to sail beyond the reef. However, Chief Tui tells her she isn't the first person her grandmother has shown that cave to. The ancients sealed that place for a reason, and he says that reopening it won't solve any of his problems. Just then, they're interrupted by terrible news. Grandma is seriously ill. Moana rushes to her and finds her grandma in her last moments. With her dying breath, the old woman reminds her to complete the mission she was chosen for. She tells her the ocean chose her, that she needs to find Maui, get back his magic hook, and when she finally sees him, grab him by one ear and proudly say, "I am Moana of Motunui." Then he'll get in her canoe. They'll sail across the ocean and return the heart of Te Fiti to save the world. Before saying goodbye, she promises that no matter where she goes, she'll always be with her. Then she gives her a precious necklace as a keepsake and a symbol of her trust. Determined to fulfill the destiny entrusted to her, Moana heads to the secret cave. She takes one of her ancestors' old canoes and finally crosses the reef. Right at that moment, her grandmother passes away and her spirit returns as a huge manta ray, the creature she had told her so much about, silently accompanying her at the start of her journey. As she sails across the vast ocean, Moana rehearses the speech she'll give Maui when she finally meets him. Then she discovers someone else is traveling with her. The clueless Heihei has snuck onto the canoe and seems to enjoy the trip as if nothing's wrong. Night falls, and exhausted from everything that's happened, Moana eventually falls asleep. However, her rest is short-lived because the ocean itself wakes her up just as a huge storm starts to form around her. After surviving the storm, Moana ends up arriving on an island with her canoe completely wrecked, frustrated by everything that's happened. She even gets mad at the ocean. While catching her breath, she checks the necklace her grandma left her to make sure Te Fiti's heart is still there. Luckily, the relic is still safe. Suddenly, Moana senses something strange and hides among the rocks. But the one who shows up is Maui, the legendary demigod who was stuck on that island island for years. Finding the boat destroyed, he also discovers the young woman and proudly introduces himself as the hero of all people. Moana tries to say the exact speech she rehearsed the whole trip. However, Maui keeps making fun of her and ruins the moment's seriousness. The demigod says he got stuck on that island because he tried to deliver Te Fiti's heart to the people. So according to him, Moana should be thanking him instead of complaining about him. Then he starts singing, showing off all his achievements, leaving Moana totally confused. Taking advantage of her naivety, Maui easily tricks her and locks her up in a cave before taking off with the canoe. However, one of Maui's living tattoos seems to disapprove of his choice and reminds him he shouldn't head back to Te Fiti with just a regular human, but he should get his powerful magic hook first. Meanwhile, Moana manages to escape the cave just as Maui is about to leave. The ocean steps in again and pushes her back to the boat. Maui tries to ditch her by throwing her into the water over and over, but the sea always brings her back to the boat. Even when Maui himself jumps into the ocean to get away, the waves bring him back too, making it clear he won't get rid of her so easily. Moana reminds him that he's supposed to return Te Fiti's heart, but Maui says it's not a heart, it's a curse. He explains that when he stole it, Teka woke up. He fell from the sky during the battle and lost his magic hook. That's why he warns her to never show the heart again, since its power can even attract the attention of the gods. Right at that moment, the Kakamora, a fierce tribe of little raiders, appear and attack their boat. Moana understands that they're also after Te Fiti's heart. The Kakamora manage to snatch it and take off with it, but Moana isn't ready to give up. Without a second thought, she jumps onto the enemy boats all by herself, faces the entire tribe, and after a chase full of risky maneuvers, she manages to get the heart back. In the end, she makes the Kakamora's ships crash into each other, beating them and escaping with Maui. After the fight, Maui tells her that if she really wants to return Te Fiti's heart, she'll have to face Taka first. However, he makes it clear that he doesn't plan on doing it. Besides thinking that mission is way too dangerous, he insists that demigods work alone, but Moana doesn't agree. She reminds him that no one sees him as a hero anymore, but rather as the one who stole Te Fiti's heart and doomed the world to darkness. Moana's words make Maui think, and he finally agrees to help her, but he sets a condition. When everything's done, she and all her people have to call him a hero again. Before facing Teka, Maui decides they need to get his magic hook back. To do that, they'll have to travel to Tamatoa's lair, a giant crab that collects any shiny or valuable object it finds at the ocean's bottom. As they sail to their destination, Maui starts teaching Moana how to understand the ocean and use the wind to become a true sailor. That night, worn out from the journey, Moana falls asleep. However, she has a dreadful nightmare where she sees darkness slowly consuming her whole island. The crops are gone, her home collapses, and finally her own parents are overtaken by corruption. When they wake up, they realize they finally reached Tamatoa's lair. Maui explains it's a giant crab who's obsessed with collecting everything shiny, rare, or spectacular, so there's a good chance his magic hook is still there. Wasting no time, Maui opens the entrance and dives into the ocean depths. Though he intended to go alone, Moana decides to follow him, convinced she can help. Soon after, Tamatoa shows up, the giant crab who rules that underwater kingdom. The moment he sees Moana, he grabs her with his huge pincers and demands the necklace she's wearing. Moana says that necklace belonged to her grandmother, but Tamatoa, with his usual sense of humor, claims he ate her grandmother too. To buy some time, Moana starts praising him and tells him she's always admired his enormous treasure collection. Just as Maui warned her, Tamatoa can't resist the flattery and starts showing off proudly. The huge crab tells him he used to be small and insignificant, but thanks to his obsession with shiny things, he became the king of the ocean floor. However, he makes it clear that after his story, Moana will be his next meal. That's when Maui shows up, determined to get his magic hook back. He tries to turn into a powerful hawk, but something goes wrong. Instead of taking the right shape, he starts accidentally turning into different animals, proving he's lost control of his powers. Tamatoa keeps mocking him as he begins to proudly sing about his massive treasure collection. While the crab is distracted with Maui, Moana takes the chance to look around. Among all the shiny things, she finds something with a glow very similar to the heart of Te Fiti. Then she comes up with a clever plan. Knowing Tamatoa can't resist anything shiny, she shows him Te Fiti's true heart to fully capture his attention. The huge crab leaves Maui and starts desperately chasing Moana. During the chase, Moana pretends to trip and drops a shiny object to trick him. Thinking he's got the heart, Tamatoa jumps at it, not realizing it's just a decoy. Meanwhile, Moana keeps Te Fiti's true heart and along with Maui, manages to escape with the magic hook. When Tamatoa realizes he was tricked, he storms off after them in a rage. Even then, they manage to escape before he can catch them. Once they're safe, Maui stays silent and seems visibly affected. Moana asks him to tell her what's going on with him and also asks him about the meaning of his tattoos. Maui says they just show up whenever he pulls off a new feat, but he avoids talking about it too much. Moana gets that it's personal and tells him he doesn't have to share, but she also reminds him that if they don't return the heart of Te Fiti, her whole village is doomed. Eventually, Maui decides to open up. He admits he wasn't born a demigod. Actually, he had human parents who didn't want him and left him as a baby, tossing him into the sea. The gods found him and took pity on him. They gave him his legendary magic hook and turned him into a demigod. With these new powers, he went back to help humanity. He created islands, grew coconut trees, and gave countless gifts to people. He even stole Te Fiti's heart, thinking it would be the greatest gift ever. He did it because he wanted to earn the love and acceptance of humans. But no matter how much he gave, it never seemed to be enough. Moana tells him the ocean chose him because it saw someone trustworthy. That quality doesn't come from the gods or his magic hook, it was always inside him. Meanwhile, in Motunui, Chief Tui stands in front of the sacred rock mountain, watching the ocean with worry and wondering if he'll ever see his daughter again. Maui also tells Moana that he once sailed with her ancestors. He also tells him that the necklace his grandma inherited belonged to the first great navigator of Motunui. Inspired by her, he admits he'd love to see their people sail the seas again one day. Soon after, they finally arrive on the island of Te Fiti. Without wasting any time, Maui says goodbye to Moana and decides to take on Te Kā by himself to clear the way for her. He tries to dodge her by turning into different animals, but his powers keep failing and none of his transformations turn out as expected. Forced to retreat, he goes back to Moana and asks her to give up the mission before it's too late. But Moana refuses to give up. Convinced they can still make it, she insists on trying one more time. However, the encounter goes terribly wrong. During the battle, Maui's magic hook takes a powerful hit and gets badly damaged. Seeing the deep cracks through the weapon the gods gave him, Maui realizes that if he uses it again, he might lose it forever. Moana tries to lift Maui's spirits by reminding him that now they know Te Kā can't chase them across the water. However, Maui doesn't want to go on anymore. He explains that if his hook gets damaged again, it will stop working forever and without it, he'll lose all his powers. Convinced he can't take the risk, he decides to quit the mission and leaves Moana all alone. Desperate and in tears, Moana tells the ocean that she's not the right one for this mission. She thinks it made a mistake choosing her and asks it to find someone else. Then she gives the heart of Te Fiti back to the ocean. But moments later, the spirit of her grandmother appears as a huge manta ray, just like she promised. Moana says she did everything she could, but it wasn't enough. Her grandmother then tells her that if she wants to go back home, she'll always be there for her, but she needs to listen to her heart first. As she starts singing, Moana recalls her whole journey. The spirits of her ancestors show up sailing beside her, reminding her who she truly is. Full of determination, she dives to the bottom of the ocean to get Te Fiti's heart and decides to complete the mission. Ready for the final battle, Moana sails straight to the island. Using all her skills, she manages to trick Te Kā and breaks through the wall of fire. But a powerful hit sends the heart flying, even though Hei manages to get it back. Another strike capsizes the canoe. Just as Te Kā is about to attack Moana, Maui unexpectedly returns, takes on the monster, cuts off a lava arm, and gives her just enough time to keep going. Before jumping back into the fight, he admits that he should never have left her. While Maui is keeping Te Kā busy, Moana gets to where Te Fiti should be, but finds out that goddess is gone. Then she notices that Te Kā's shape fits the heart and realizes the truth. Te Kā and Te Fiti are actually the same. Moana asks the ocean to clear a path, and when Te Kā gets close, she puts the heart in its chest. Right away, the lava disappears and Te Fiti returns to her true form, bringing nature back to balance. The darkness fades and life starts blooming again. The ocean brings Maui and Hei back. Maui asks Te Fiti for forgiveness, and she gives him a new magic hook. Grateful, the demigod takes his second chance. Before parting ways, Moana invites Maui to come to Motunui and help her people bring back their old seafaring traditions. A new tattoo of Moana shows up on the demigod's arm. When Moana gets back to Motunui, she sees the island has been completely restored. Her parents greet her with pride and Pua runs over to meet her again. During the investiture ceremony, instead of placing a rock, Moana leaves a seashell, symbolizing the rebirth of her people as great navigators. From afar, Maui watches, having turned into a bird. Finally, the people of Motunui once again sail the ocean in their canoes, exploring new islands like their ancestors did. And that's how Moana ends. If you enjoyed this summary, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the upcoming videos. See you next time.